I can tell you from when I auditioned, because it was new back then, so new and fresh. My very first year, there was over 700 women that tried out. So they're putting together a strong team, a strong group of representative of women that would represent the community, and everybody had diverse backgrounds.
Hi, I'm Ellen.
Hi, I'm Elly, and this is a podcast with two Asian American women
Living, learning, and sharing about everyday life, cross-generationally.
So welcome back, everybody. We are so thrilled. I'm Elly.
I'm Ellen.
and we're so thrilled to have you back with us for a very special show today. And I'll lead it to you.
Yeah, so with the start of football season, with the fall, football season is starting. And I was telling Elly, it's like, oh gosh, how can we bring about, the next topic to kind of fit with the fall mood and, with school just starting. And I'm like, football, how do we get it to tie in with Generation X? Oh my gosh, I need to invite Donna. And so I am very pleased to let everybody know that one of my former roommates, Donna Windsor, is going to be our guest today. And to tell you a little bit about her, because she's done so much stuff since college, Donna is an NFL alumni cheerleader, a very active community advocate. She was an inaugural Jacksonville Roar of Jaguars cheerleader, serving from 1995 to 2001, and returned for the 2003 season. During her time with the Roar, she served as group captain for 5 years, assistant coach for 2 years, and an ambassador cheerleader for a year. She was on the All-Star traveling team for the Super Bowls and military bases for the promotional events from 1996 to 1999. And since 2004, Donna has served as the Jacksonville Jaguar Roars cheerleader alumni president, only stepping down just a couple of years ago in 2023. She became an officer to the NFL Alumni Jacksonville chapter in 2017 as a secretary to the players. She is a board member since 2012 of the National Football Cheerleaders Alumni. She has earned many awards from the NFL Alumni Jacksonville and Jaguar Roar alumni, including the Platinum Award in 2024 for her extensive work as an organizational leader for charitable and promotional events, appearing in both local and national media platforms. She's done it all as a cheerleader and is up there. So welcome, Donna.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here.
Yes, we're so thrilled you're here.
We're so thrilled you're here.
And I wanted to kick it off because I am not as familiar with you as Ellen, but we do have our Jaguars inaugural game Pepsi or Coca-Cola bottle that my husband got, and some Jags gear. So I'm just curious, Donna, can you, getting ready for the season.
Yes.
I'm curious, tell us a little bit about your background and how you became a Jacksonville Jaguars cheerleader, of course, too.
That's a great question. Well, I've been dancing pretty much all my life. I started very young. Actually, I started off as a baton twirler at age 12. And then when I was getting ready to try out for college teams, I ended up at the University of North Florida in Jacksonville, and I danced for Dance Attack at UNF. And in 1994, the Weavers, who are the original owners of the Jaguars, came to our school, and they were holding an event, and I met the owner, and they were saying, hey, we're getting ready to have auditions for the NFL alumni. And I'm like, wow, I've always wanted to be a Dallas Cowboy. When I think everybody did when we first started. But for one to come to Jacksonville, I'm like, wait, I'm going to be an original if I make this team. But I didn't expect to make it because there was over 700 cheerleaders that auditioned. So to make it was, 50-50 shot. I always know that when you audition for a professional team, it's 50-50. So I'm like, I'll just go for it. And 1995, I made the first team. It was amazing, an amazing experience to try out for an inaugural team. And I've been just living that life ever since 1995. I haven't stopped. In fact, we just had a 30-year reunion not long ago. So I had the opportunity to dance on the field again with my alumni sisters.
Oh, how fun is that? What an experience.
Donna, you said that you started out that it started out with you being a baton twirler, but when you were that baton twirler though, did you at any time say, "Oh, I want to be a cheerleader in the future"? Aside from, everybody wants to be a Dallas cheerleader, but because I always saw you dancing. Everything that you did was always, Ellen, I'm going to go here and there. You were always busy dancing, whether you were teaching it or whether you were performing it. But did you ever actually say, I want to be, aside from every little girl's wish, right, of being a cheerleader, did you ever say, like, no, my goal is to become a future professional cheerleader? Did you ever at all have that as a future kind of end goal?
Well, I knew that I was going to have a life in dance. I mean, and thank goodness for my parents, mom and pops, and they put me in dance very young at age 5. So, and then, when you in high school and elementary, our parent, or at least my parents, they're like, you have to do an activity. And so I chose dance, and at that time, baton twirling and cheering was the option. So I just wanted to master it. And my idols were like Janet Jackson and, Paula Abdul. I wanted to dance. I just wanted to dance. But for some reason, my life, as I was making all these teams, I had band directors believe in me and say, you need to start a dance team. So that kind of spurred into that. And so I started very young teaching dance and taking the lessons, but bringing it back to my hometown of Stark, where I grew up and did a lot of my dancing background in a small town. So it's kind of an eye opener to see where my life started dancing and then leading into a professional background. I always wanted to do something in entertainment.
That's awesome. And what timing that 94, that the Weavers came to your school, right? Is it your school?
Yes, they came to the University of North Florida here in Jacksonville and was just doing a ceremonial opening and just introducing the NFL coming to Jacksonville. So that was really, really big for Jacksonville.
That's incredible. But yeah, so the timing of you being there and them opening the Jaguars inaugural season was just incredible. I'm kind of curious, did your parents support it at all? Were they against it at first? What were your thoughts? How'd that go down?
I love that you're asking that question because as Filipino parents, they're all about education. That's number one. And my father at first, he enjoyed watching shows and when I was competing and when I would put on events, but he kept saying to me, that's not going to be your life. You need to, focus on your studies. And, I had to do both. So juggling both education and dance and what I was going to do in my life, it was something. But once I made the NFL, and my father got to see all that and my mother, and they're like, yes, okay. My father, then he accepted it a lot more because before then it was like, okay, what are you doing? You need to, finish your education. So But dance was so big. I was able to tie both of them and make it part of my life, as not just trying to make money out of it, but because you can. I've opened up dance studios and taught dance teams and got paid for it, but it wasn't, entertainment wasn't for me a money making machine. It was more, I just loved being around people. I loved entertaining people, and I got joy out of it. So I think my father understood that more than anything.
That's beautiful.
So Donna, and I think I asked you this before when we were chatting a couple of days ago, when you were a cheerleader, or when you first started actually, when you would go out in the field, when you were cheering then, did you feel as, and I don't know, I mean, you would know better how many Asian American cheerleaders are there in the NFL, but did you feel that when you stepped out there that you were representing our community? Did you feel that, or?
Yes, no, I do. I do. And that's what I loved about the Weavers, and also my coach, Robin Valatudo. I got to give her lots of credit. Because our squad is very diverse. So, and you earn your spot. It wasn't just about, your background, but of course they love when there is diverse women and the heritage that you bring. And so I love that I met other Asian Americans or Filipinos that made the squad, or from other Asian background. So yeah, I love that it was very diverse, and that's how they chose the squad to be that way. The girl next door wasn't just everyone thinks the blonde hair, blue eyed. So no, it was very supportive in the Asian American community. So I felt that, I really did. And when I first made the team, I felt like I started some trends. Like my hair was jet black, of course, and then I dyed my hair blonde. I just had one streak, so it was pretty funny. And then the coach was like, "I need you to dye your hair just one color," thinking I would go back to my ethnic roots and black hair. I dyed it blonde. And it was fun, and you just have fun. And so they're like, "Okay, blonde hair, Asian." I thought it was fun, and she thought it was great too. So you'll see the trends that I felt like I kind of started, because I was starting hearing from other women and young girls like, "Oh, she's just having fun out there," and still keeping my ethnic background.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think, and it's fun that you were able to add a little bit of your personality into all of it too. I'm curious, was that diversity, was that actually all of the NFL teams, or was that only like certain?
No, all NFL teams are diverse, and the audition process it's not an easy one. You do have to earn your spot. So everyone, whether your fitness training and your background, your dance abilities, all that had to blend. Your height. So I'm not very tall. So
Really, what is the and I'm sure it changes a little bit, but I mean, what is typically to be a cheerleader? What is that height requirement? Can you share that?
there's not a height requirement. So you can be 4'11" and you can be 5'10", and but we're grouped into our sizes, so that all comes into play as well. So when you do audition, and the judges are judging and the coach is trying to put together a team, all that comes into play. So the height, the appearance, and but a lot of it is how you carry yourself, your confidence, and how you treat others. They always look for someone that's kind, that is willing to open themselves up, because you have little girls looking up to you, so you want to be able to share the positivity of who you are. not just for appearances, but who you are. But I always educate people on both, whether it's your background education or just being physically healthy.
That's great.
How many, Donna, because cheerleading is a completely different world from me, and I don't know anything about it. But how many, when you're auditioning, how many, is it judges or the people that are auditioning, how many are actually there?
So I
decision.
can tell you from when I auditioned, because it was new back then, so new and fresh. So the first like maybe 4 or 5 years, my very first year, there was over 700 women that tried out. And judging wise, they might have had 20 judges, but usually they're only a handful will probably make the final decisions of, who makes that team. So they're putting together a strong team, a strong group of representative of women that would represent the community, and everybody had diverse backgrounds. You had school teachers, you had still young ladies going to school, we had attorneys and lawyers and women who owned their own businesses that made the team, and the age range is from 18 and up. So, and at the time when I cheered, there wasn't a cap on how long you cheered. Now there's a cap, so you can only cheer 5 years.
Okay, interesting. And you talk about diversity and the teams being very diverse. With that, I'm curious, were there any stereotypes that you faced or any sort of challenges from your diverse, background?
I mean, well, you got to remember that you are open to the public because you're, whether you are at the game or you're televised, because you're televised nationally. I would say probably some of the challenges that I faced or have seen is probably just keeping up your physique. That was always really, really tough, but I appreciate it because it led me to now to keeping myself as healthy as possible. Back then you would think, oh gosh, our coach is so hard on us. We have to keep a certain weight to fit in the uniforms. And you want it to be as beautiful and physically, presentable to the fans, because sometimes the fans can be a little bit harsh, if they're looking at, your physique. So I think those are some of the challenges that sometimes women face, probably not just in what NFL did, but I think in all aspects of life.
Yeah. No, thank you for sharing that. It's interesting to hear from your background and your story if you've faced any challenges.
Yes, yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that was the hardest thing, is just keeping up. You had to work out, you had to train. You had to keep up your appearances no matter, where you're at. But again, I didn't take that as a negative. I always take whatever anyone said, hey, if your clothing was out of place, or if you had gained a little bit of weight, and your uniform is not fitting correctly, then that told me, okay, what have I changed? What do I need to do to make myself more presentable? And I know, looking at that from the outside, because it should always be from the inside. But again, I didn't take it as a negative. I took it as, okay, how can I improve? Where did I fall back? Instead of like, okay, I'm pounding on somebody or on their appearance. And I try to tell, when I'm educating other women when they're trying out for a team, a professional team, I want them to be healthy. That's number one. And not just physically, but also mentally. So, because all of that, plays together.
So Donna, I mean, because you touched upon both, being well, taking care of both physically and mentally, how does Donna, or how does a cheerleader, be at that place where you are both, like, what do you do to I guess, get ready or psych yourself up to be in a healthy enough place to be mindful of taking care of yourself, both physically and mentally, like receiving any negative criticisms, or just knowing that, oh my gosh, I'm going to have thousands, if not millions, as especially now it's with, with the emergence of social media and videos out there, eyes watching me. And, for like, I know that for me, I'm always going, oh my gosh, Elly, my hair looks like poop today, and my viewership is nowhere even close to as much as yours. How do you take care of you? Like, what is it that you do? And what does other folks or girl or anybody that wants to become one, how does one take care of themselves?
Right. Well, I mean, first thing is, I always look up to the leaders or those that I admire around me that have been in these positions before. And, I have a wonderful coach. Again, I have to mention her name, Robin Valatudo. And then I surrounded myself with other women that were going through the same thing I was going through. So we would talk about, okay, how can we look our best? How can we make sure we are in the best fit shape? And so there's always programs. There's great programs you follow, and you want to do it the right way. You want to do it healthily, because I would never want any woman or young lady that I'm educating about making a professional team, and doing it the wrong way. Not starving themselves, or because you don't want anyone to develop any bad eating habits, or again, I think it's surrounding yourself with strong leaders and women. I've also trained with some of the football players, and they go through the same things about their physicality and their presentation. So I think it's all about just surrounding yourself with positive people and leading you in the right direction of, what you're trying to accomplish. So, especially for my nephews and nieces, I'm trying to teach them as well. I've got a young niece that's in the entertainment world, and so I want to make sure that I'm a leader for her as well, whether it's dancing or being in this profession. I think that's really important. Surround yourself with positive people, get into the programs that that could help lead you to be successful.
Nice. Now, with that, is there anything that most people don't know? Like, if you're getting into cheerleading, being an NFL cheerleader, what's something people actually don't even realize?
I would say, as far as don't realize, now the NFL, the cheerleaders are getting paid. Back when I cheered, I didn't do it for the pay. I did it because I knew that it was a great connection with the community, with charitable work. I thought if I was going to make the NFL team, it was just dancing and entertaining. I never knew that I was going to be an ambassador, someone who can mentor and be an ambassador for young kids, not just leading them into this type of profession, but also it's good networking to get to know people in the community, and doing a lot of support work. So again, if anyone thinks that making an NFL team is glamorous, it is. Parts of it is, because dancing at an NFL game, I love football. So anyone who loves football, I get to see that up close and personal. And but at the same time, you get to be a great ambassador and mentor, and help people in the community if they're going through challenges. I always want to be there. I've always been someone who's big in charity. So I've always supported, whether it was health and wellness, I'm a breast cancer survivor, and so that's important to me, and using that NFL platform to help others is really important.
I love that. And I love that how you started with something you were passionate about versus, hey, where is it that I can make the most money? Because I mean, I guess at that point they weren't even paying cheerleaders, but you started with what you were passionate about, what your heart and soul called you to do was something in the dancing or entertainment field, and it led you to this. And being such a great example for others, like, we think it's just super admirable that you can lead the way with setting a good example, because it's so easy to get off the road if you get into the entertainment world, right? We know it's easy to think, okay, now I have to be this for this person, and there's so much pressure involved. So I love that you're talking about health and wellness and mental health too.
And I do want to say, when I did cheer for the NFL, and we got incentives, we were supported. Whether we went into a gym or, they provided us with all the needs that we need. So I don't want to downplay the fact that, because everyone thinks, oh, why don't the cheerleaders get paid? I mean, and I don't want to speak for anyone else. I'm only speaking from how I feel and what my experience is, because I've been in the entertainment world since I was little. So I know what it takes, and some of the, again, it's about who supports you. And at the time, the owners and my coaches and the cheerleaders, we supported each other in so many different ways. So there are incentives to it. I don't want anyone to think that, okay, I didn't get paid and they didn't take care of me. And that's not what I experienced.
No, thank you for sharing that.
So Donna, I'm just curious, because we never really talked about it. And again, like, even in college, remembering how you just came in and out all the time from all of these dance stuff, and knowing and because I knew both of your parents, if you were not dancing, what do you think? What do you think you would be doing? If you weren't dancing, if you weren't a cheerleader, what do you think would you be doing in life?
That's a great question. Well, okay. So, growing up with 3 brothers and 2 sisters, we're always competing. And my parents, again, I have to, God bless their soul, they're in heaven. They're both in heaven. But our parents were very supportive, not just in our education, but they wanted us to be in activities. I think they just wanted us out of the house so we didn't eat up all the food. So I was always outside. If I'm not dancing, I was playing tennis. I played piano. So I was into music. I was into sports. So we weren't short of activity. So, but education, of course, always came first. And, my parents always like, okay, what are you going to do in life? Even when I went to college, I'm like, I first started out as a fashion designer. I thought that's what I was going to do. And then I thought nursing, because my parents wanted us in medical, didn't like the blood. That wasn't my thing. So I ended up being a school teacher. So I went my education background, and when I graduated with a bachelor's in elementary education, but I had started a dance team because I was in the band. So I played the clarinet. So as you can see, I did a lot. So I never stopped trying anything. So if I tell people, your journey never stops and you keep picking up new things in life. So even now that I'm not dancing now, I'm a dragon boater. I don't know if you know what that is, but so I am now a dragon boater. So if I wasn't dancing, I'm doing something, I'm finding something, and it's always going to be something outdoors and just keep moving. That's what I'm going to tell people, keep moving. There's a lot out there.
And I really love that message. I mean, having children at the age right now where I'm like, what are you gonna do with your life? You know, I like that. I love what you're saying about just keep doing something. Just don't sit there and, you know, I want to say video games, but I'm not even gonna go there, because there are even people now that do make a good living playing these games. But I love what you're saying about just keep doing something, and then you will find your passion from there. Yeah.
Awesome.
Exactly.
Great. And going back to the Jaguars as we kick off the season too, was there a Jaguars fan moment that just gave you the chills that you just remember?
That one memory.
Oh, man.
Oh.
But what was the most memorable? There has to be one that just really stands out, you know, like what?
Yeah. I mean, I've had so many, but I'm gonna have to say it was the time when the team beat the Broncos, and it was huge, because I think we won a championship, and they were flying back from Denver, and the coach called our cheerleaders and said, okay, we have to go to the stadium and welcome them back. And it was like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. And the stadium was filled up with fans and cheerleaders, and their plane, from what I understand, their plane flew over the stadium, and they can see us waiting for them, coming back to the stadium and welcoming them and just cheering them on. And I'll just never forget, I was on that field looking up, and I couldn't believe that everybody was, it's like 2, 3 in the morning, and here we are cheering on our guys coming back from an out of state game. And that was like, and that's when Coach Coughlin said, do you believe? And that was big. That was big. Yeah.
Wow, how special. We'll have to find it on YouTube if it's on there. Now I'm curious. Now we're curious.
I do need to find that, but I can reminisce with all my cheerleaders about that game, and it was just or about that time, and they go, do you remember we were at the stadium 2, 3 in the morning waiting for the football players to get back, and the whole stadium was full. Like, I was like, why aren't these people asleep? But you know, I wasn't either, so I was out there waiting for our guys to come in, and that was pretty amazing.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing your experience, your story with us.
Yes, thank you for chatting with us today. I'm so proud of you. I always tell people, I have a friend that's a cheerleader for the NFL. I always say that, you know. But for everything that you're doing right now, I know that we chatted a little bit about like just how active you are in the community, about everything that you're doing. Not just with with cheer, but also with the city, and being a breast cancer survivor. So hopefully I will get to tap into you again as we film later to talk about.
That's another thing in dragon boating and how I got into that, and I always even with our football players, my players and cheerleader alumni, we're very connected. And we support each other, not just in just the football, but also we're family. So, and then I have my Asian community here too, and in Jacksonville, we always tap into that. In fact, my nephew, we just dropped him off in Gainesville. Tristan and I just dropped off one of my nephews. He went back to school at UF, and they were showing me around, and I was like, wait, wasn't there a Phil-Am association that
FSA? I'm an FSA alumni, so you need to make sure that he becomes an FSAer.
Yes, for sure. I'm definitely gonna let him know about that. So.
Great. Well, thank you so
much, Donna, for breaking the stereotypes. You're the epitome example role model of somebody that actually broke through that Asian stereotype and really excelled way up there. So thank you. We will chat again soon.
Okay, thank you.
Mwah.
Go Jags.
Yes, take care.
Thanks, Donna.
Thanks,
Okay,
Donna.
take care.
Bye.
Bye. that was such a fun interview.
Right? I mean,
Yes.
she's just amazing.
Yeah.
She's just so amazing to
Exactly.
me.
Yes, she was
Yeah.
incredible just hearing her story. Now we're curious though, where are you? Do you fit into the stereotype, or are you someone who pushes the boundaries a little bit? Please share your experience in the comments below. We'd love to hear it.
And don't forget to click like and subscribe to us. We'd love to have you as a follower.
We'll see you soon, everybody. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.